We open in the middle of war. Chaos, gunfire, soldiers moving through it. And one of them is Nikki. We also see her busting criminal syndicates tied to human trafficking. The film cuts to her speaking directly, laying out who she is, battlefields, survival, what she is capable of. She is not describing a resume. She is describing a person who has been shaped entirely by the worst places on Earth. Then, the desert. Nikki is in an army truck on a video call with her daughter Chloe, apologizing for not being there and wishing her a happy birthday. On Chloe's 6th birthday, Nikki is on the battlefield and still finds a way to call. Balloons in frame, a cone hat on her head. Whatever else she misses, she never misses a birthday. She makes something for her daughter every single year, and she communicates with her family whenever the job allows it. Then, her husband died. She needed to make a change. She had to come home for good. She had to make things right. The camera pulls out across a city. At home, it is Chloe's 16th birthday. Nikki tells her there is still another present to open. Chloe answers softly, "Maybe we can do it later," and goes to the table to straighten it up. Nikki asks if everything is okay. Chloe says it is. She has other plans tonight. Nikki asks what time. She says 9-ish. That gets Nikki's attention. It is late. She brings up Chloe's friends instead, and Chloe finally lets it out. She is not a little kid anymore. She wants to be with her friends on her birthday. And Nikki wouldn't know anything about that because she wasn't there. She was on duty more than she was ever home, right up until her father died. Chloe storms to her room, and the worst part of that argument is that every word of it is true. That evening, Nikki is on the couch sending Chloe a message. She goes to her daughter's room and knocks, asking if she is hungry. Nothing. She knocks again and tries the door. Locked. So she gets the key, apologizes through the door, and opens it. She turns on the light. Chloe isn't there. There is a note. Chloe is out with friends. At the bar, one of Chloe's friends points her toward a guy at the counter. His name is Ben. Meanwhile, Nikki gets in the car and calls Chloe, straight to voicemail. She opens a location app, finds her, and starts the engine. Back at the bar, Chloe and Ben are sitting next to each other, ordering drinks and talking. Her friends say their goodbyes and leave. Ben uses that exact window to spike her drink. He tells her to try it. They drink together. Nikki pulls up outside and spots Chloe's friends. She calls out to Ellie and asks where Chloe is. In the bar, they say, with Ben. Nikki asks why they left her alone with him. They say Ben is a nice guy. She doesn't wait for anything else. She rushes inside and sees her daughter being dragged out by Ben and an accomplice. She screams Chloe's name and goes after them. The accomplice comes at her with a knife. She takes him down. But Ben already has Chloe in the car and they are moving. Nikki chases them on foot. She catches up. She smashes the passenger window and hangs onto the moving car, trying to pull her daughter free while the driver accelerates. He takes a hard turn and throws her off. She gets back up. She keeps running. And this time, she has a car key wedged between her knuckles. She leaps from a building's glass window onto the roof of the car and drives the key into the driver's eye. Another car crashes into them. Nikki is thrown from the vehicle and knocked unconscious. Ben climbs out, pulls the driver's body out, and drives away. Nikki is left on the ground, wounded and unconscious. She has just lost her daughter. Her narration returns with the rule that governs everything from here. She has all 72 ahead of her. What follows happens fast. Club 30 burns, a brothel is destroyed, the accomplices inside are killed. All of it in service of a single thing, finding Chloe. 44 hours left. Nikki wakes up, strung upside down in a butcher's house. Music is playing. A man circles her slowly. He tells her Mr. Sullivan paid heavily to kill her personally. She doesn't respond to that. She asks about her daughter instead. He keeps circling. He talks about what she did to Club 30. He punches her in the stomach. He pulls out a knife and drags it along her face. Nikki tells him to say where her daughter is and she will let him live. He laughs and then slowly cuts into her stomach. She endures it without giving him anything. His phone rings. He stabs the knife into her leg and leaves it there while he takes the call. That is the mistake. With his back turned and Sullivan on the line, Nikki uses that same knife to cut the tape binding her hands, then the rope around her feet. She drops to the floor, and the sound makes him turn around. She stands. He grabs a tactical knife. They fight. She knocks his blade away, and he switches to a meat cleaver and keeps coming. Nikki stabs him repeatedly, chest, over and over. She asks where her daughter is. He says he doesn't know. She asks who Sullivan is. He says he can't tell her. She pulls the knife out of his chest and he whimpers. And when she senses he is not really listening anymore, she cuts off his left ear. He screams. She moves toward the other one. He begs her to stop. This is the point in the film where you understand exactly what kind of person is doing the searching. 2 cars pull up at the butcher's house. Nikki watches from a distance. Sullivan steps out, the manager of the syndicate. His men go inside and find the butcher hanging upside down, a knife through his leg, and a photo deliberately left behind. Sullivan picks up the picture and says, "She's crazy." One of his men asks if they should call the chairman. Sullivan refuses. They will handle it themselves. The chairman does not know about Club 30 being torched, and Sullivan intends to keep it that way. As they leave, he orders his men to spread word through every contact they have. Find Nikki and kill her. They drive off. Nikki follows them all the way to their compound. The security there is tight. At the Las Cruces Police Department, the investigation into the destruction of Club 30 is underway. They have recovered footage, but no idea who is responsible yet. Captain Michaels is heading the case and orders his team to identify the person on camera. Detectives John, Alexa, and Jin are working it. In an apartment, Nikki showers. The scars across her body tell the story her narration doesn't. She dozes off for a moment and has a flash of a dream, walking through darkness towards someone she cannot recognize. She jolts awake, finishes, and steps out to take pills. She cleans and stitches her own wounds, and she keeps telling herself the same thing: stay awake. She has 32 hours left. Back at the station, the captain comes in with a file and plays footage from a flash drive. They spot Ben, and Alexa immediately identifies him as one of the syndicate's men. Michaels points out their actual target in the footage, then shows the team a photo of Gary Lester, the man Nikki killed with a car key. Detective Jin is visibly shaken by it. The car key belongs to Nikki. Michaels puts up Nikki's ID. John is surprised their target is a woman. Alexa pushes back immediately. Why does that surprise him? Michaels wants to trace Nikki's car. Jin suggests staking out her home address as well, and Michaels assigns him to watch it. 22 hours left. Nikki goes into a shop for a few things and spots a skateboard mounted on the wall. The owner tells her it isn't for sale. She insists and pays anyway, leaving him no real choice. She walks out with the 2 items she came for. At his estate, the chairman is writing when one of his men hands him a phone. Sullivan is on the line. The chairman immediately asks him when he was planning to mention Club 30. Now that he knows, he wants Nikki dead. At his compound, Sullivan stands on the terrace, studying the photo Nikki left behind. His security approaches and tells him it is time. Sullivan walks inside and orders his men to bring the girl lying on the bed. The convoy starts moving. What they do not know is that Nikki is already waiting for them. She fits a mouthpiece, accelerates, and crashes straight into the convoy. She fights her way through, takes a gun off one of them, and kills them one by one. Sullivan tries to talk her down. She smashes him with the skateboard instead, levels the gun at him, and demands to know where her daughter is. He claims he has no idea what she's talking about. She shoots his left leg. She tells him she doesn't like repeating herself. He still insists he doesn't know where Chloe is. She shoots the other leg. He finally breaks. He isn't the one in charge. The chairman is the real boss, and he is at the Grand Hotel right now. Sullivan offers to help her get through to him. Nikki doesn't need his help. She shoots him dead. And as she turns to walk away, she hears something from the trunk of one of the cars. She opens it. Chloe is inside. Alexa reports a shooting on Brighton Road, and the team moves to gather more information. Nikki is on a bus with her daughter. She falls asleep and dreams of the battlefield, of her husband's death from leukemia, and then the same recurring image returns, walking through darkness towards someone seated in a chair. She wakes abruptly as they arrive home. Jin, watching, reports it to Captain Michaels. Inside the house, Nikki sits Chloe on the couch and checks her, hands moving carefully, looking for anything they did to her. Michaels sends the SWAT team to Nikki's residence. They take position, ready to engage. Then, an officer in uniform interrupts him. "I wouldn't do that if I were you." Michaels, caught off guard, asks who he is. Colonel Lavelle. He hands over authorization papers, placing himself in charge of the operation, and orders Michaels to pull SWAT back. Furious, Michaels tells his team to stand down. They comply. He throws the papers down, slams the radio on the table, and storms out. Nikki settles Chloe into bed. She still seems out of it, then heads out to get medical supplies. Detective Jin, watching from a blue car nearby, keeps ducking down in his seat so she won't spot him as she passes, alert to everything around her. At the police department, Michael slips into a room and secretly calls the SWAT team. He orders them to turn off their body cameras to avoid surveillance and resume the operation he was told to stop. Outside, Nikki keeps walking. Turning a corner into an alley, she catches the reflection of one of the SWAT members in a car window and keeps walking exactly as if she hasn't noticed. The team moves in carefully behind her and rounds the corner. She dropped her cap on purpose. They secure the area, ready to engage. They have already lost. Nikki is watching them from the roof above. Back at the department, Colonel Lavelle is explaining his plan to bring Nikki in to Detectives John and Alexa. Alexa asks who he is to her. He explains he was her commanding officer for a long time. Captain Michaels walks in without saying anything and passes through the room. And then the monitor flicks on. It is a live broadcast from Nikki, transmitting through the SWAT team's own camera. She has already defeated them. Everyone in the room is stunned. Colonel Lavelle turns to Michaels and asks what he has done. Lavelle radios Nikki. She recognizes his voice immediately and responds. She asks what he's doing here. He says he came to bring her in. She refuses. She tells him bitterly that the syndicate took her daughter and warns him not to send anyone else after her. She runs back toward her house, checking the blue car where she spotted Jin earlier. He is gone. She keeps running. She gets inside and Chloe is missing. The window is open. Jin points a gun at her back and tells her not to move. Nikki raises her hands, then spins, takes the gun off him, and turns it on him instead, demanding to know where her daughter is. He says he doesn't know and shows his badge to prove he is a cop. Chloe was already gone by the time he got there. Nikki knocks him out with the gun and leaves. She drives straight to the Grand Hotel. 11 hours left. The police team and Colonel Lavelle head to Nikki's residence, the tension in the car heavy the whole way. Michaels seems suspicious, like a man carrying something. It is starting to look like there is a reason he has been so eager to catch her. They storm the house and find nobody but a handcuffed Detective Jin. Michaels walks out and orders the team to widen the search beyond the perimeter. And an officer is already waiting to arrest him on the charges of suspected fraud, bribery, perversion of justice, and corruption. He turns on Colonel Lavelle, blames him for all of it, and tries to attack him. Lavelle fights back. Michaels goes down. At the Grand Hotel, Nikki watches from her car as a shipment arrives. Inside, the chairman orders one of his men to grab a sample. What is inside the truck are girls. That is the stock he has been waiting for. Nikki checks the time. She has just over an hour. Back at the residence, Detective Jin is being treated by a paramedic and waves them off, insisting he is fine. The team approaches, and Lavelle asks whether he saw anyone when he arrived. Jin, confused, asks who Lavelle even is. Alexa explains he is the new one in charge. Then Jin asks the question, who is Nikki? Lavelle tells him she is a mother searching for her daughter, abducted by the syndicate. Detective John, baffled, asks whether all of this chaos is really over one girl. Lavelle says it isn't that simple. What do you mean? Alexa asks. And the film cuts away before he answers. At the Grand Hotel, Nikki's car is parked beside an electrical source. She grabs a cloth and a pair of pliers from the glove box, gets out, and cuts her own fuel hose. Then traces a path in the soil so the fuel runs directly toward the cloth she has placed. Inside, a few men monitor the hotel's CCTV feeds. Nikki approaches one of the guards pretending to need help, kills him, and slips inside. She works through the syndicate's men one by one and frees the abducted girls she finds along the way. Someone on the monitors spots her and alerts the rest of security. She keeps moving, shooting out every camera she passes, and grabs a box of matches. The alarm starts wailing. The chairman hears it and keeps calling out, demanding to know what is happening. His man comes in and tells him Nikki is inside. She reaches the kitchen and turns on the stoves. Outside, her trap ignites. The fire runs the path she built, reaches her car, and the explosion takes out the electrical source. The power dies across the entire hotel. Caged girls remain trapped in the dark. Everyone inside scrambles into position, completely blind without the cameras. The monitoring team rushes to restore power, radioing for Nikki's last known location, the kitchen, per the final footage. What they do not know is that she is already hiding nearby. She strikes a match, throws it onto the stove, and sends a blast of fire toward the men closing in. One catches fire. The other, startled, accidentally shoots him. Nikki stabs one and dodges gunfire from the other before killing them both. She moves through the darkness room by room, searching for Chloe and freeing every woman she finds. In one room packed with caged girls, she kills every guard inside. Deeper in, a man ambushes her in an alley, and another appears from the opposite side with an axe. She fights both at once. One wraps a rope around her neck, while the other swings at her, and she takes them both down. Then she sits, and she screams. She hallucinates her daughter standing there for a moment. Then she pulls herself together and gets back up. The chairman's head of security, having sent everyone else after Nikki, hears the gunfire stop and assumes she is dead. He heads upstairs, signals the remaining men to get ready, and enters the chairman's office, shutting the door behind him. The chairman asks what is going on as the gunfire draws closer. It reaches their door. The head of security stands his ground and motions for the chairman to escape. And on his way out, the chairman grabs a girl from one of the cages. As the guard braces to open the door, Nikki shoots straight through it. He drops instantly. She opens the remaining cages and frees the girls inside. Then she finds the chairman's bedroom. He is holding her daughter hostage with a gun to Chloe's head. Nikki levels her own gun at him. The standoff holds for a moment. And then, Nikki doesn't hesitate. She shoots the chairman in the head and pulls Chloe into her arms. They leave the hotel together. She steals a car and drives as fast as she can to the hospital, where nurses and doctors rush Chloe inside. Nikki stays at her side, and eventually, exhausted beyond anything, she falls asleep and slips back into the same recurring dream. Except this time, she's finally close to the person sitting in the chair. And back at the residence, Colonel Lavelle finally answers Alexa's question. Nikki found her daughter almost a week ago. By the time she reached her, Chloe was already dead. Unable to accept it, Nikki had a complete breakdown. She was hospitalized and heavily medicated. Lavelle visited her there, where she insisted she needed to be discharged so she could keep looking for her daughter. She has retrograde amnesia. She cannot form new memories. Every single time she falls asleep, her mind resets to the night it all began, the night Chloe was taken. Lavelle had visited her 72 hours ago. She left without telling anyone. Nobody has been able to stop her. She's a force of nature, and she does not stop. Detective Jin asks the only question left. If Chloe is dead, who are the girls she has been saving? Lavelle explains it. Nikki fixates on girls who resemble Chloe. Same pale skin, same hair. She sees her daughter everywhere she looks, and she isn't going to stop. Every 72-hour countdown in this film was real to her. Every rescue was her daughter. Every time she closed her eyes, she lost Chloe all over again and started running. The dream of walking towards someone in a chair was never a mystery. It was the memory her mind keeps refusing to let her reach. Overall, I would give it a rating of 7 out of 10. An action film that turns out to be a grief film. The twist doesn't cheapen what came before it. It makes all of it unbearable. That's Protector. If this is your kind of content, like, subscribe, and join me, one story at a time. See you on the next one.